Hi, folks. Welcome back to Pop Up Fizzle. I'm Jeff.
I'm Heidi.
And we're back with The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 3, titled The Power Broker. You may, at some point in this video, hear children playing very loudly, or Heidi opening a can very loudly. But that's because we have children right outside our window playing, and they're not ours, so we can't tell them not to. It's going to be a little bit annoying for us as we try to watch. Hopefully the mics won't pick up too much of it. And if they do, I'll do my best to edit out what I can. But you know, I'm not going to be the old. I feel old enough already without doing the whole "get off my lawn" kind of thing. Plus, we live in an apartment, so I can't tell them to get off the lawn.
Yeah, and we're also recording just a smidge earlier than we usually do.
We are,
because we've got a lot of things going on this weekend, so we wanted to make sure we can get to that stuff as well.
Absolutely.
So that's where we are. Sorry about my can. We've got Pepsi Zero Sugar Mango flavor, not a sponsor, but delicious. And I found like the last 12-pack at the grocery store, and I knew it had to be mine, but now that I'm thinking about
it's
it,
like covered in dust and hieroglyphics.
it was actually sideways and kind of not in the right spot.
Somebody probably hidden it.
Probably. Sorry about that.
Took their stash, man.
So whoever I took it from, but now I'm like, I really like this, and I'm not sure if I'm going to find it again. So I'm kind of trying to enjoy it when I can.
Gotcha. Anyway, now that we got Heidi's drink situation out of the way, we're going to dive into Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 3. Now, Episode 2, we got our main guys together, Falcon and Bucky together
our
again.
Buddy cops.
Sort of buddy cops, investigating the whole situation with the Flag Smashers, and then we found out that the Flag Smashers are actually kind of on the run from someone called the Power Broker. Mm-hmm. In the comics, the Power Broker is kind of exactly what his name sounds like. He's somebody who brokers out powers, who you can pay him to become a superhero or a supervillain. He really plays both sides. As long as you got money, he'll give you powers.
Where does he get the power to give power?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
okay.
But yeah, so that's an interesting angle on all of this. We know that some of the Flag Smashers have powers, how they, whether they got them legitimately from the Power Broker or whether they stole something and did it.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
We also know that we met Isaiah Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
How you can tell us about Isaiah?
Isaiah took half of Bucky's metal arm in 1951
in the Korean War.
In the Korean War. Yes, and he was the only one who could because he too was a super soldier.
Yes, so an African-American super soldier in the time of the Korean War, which Sam had not known about, and Bucky basically just said, he was dealing with enough already. Like, I wasn't going to, introduce him to the crazy world that we operate in right now. Like, he's been through enough. Yeah. Steve apparently did not know about Isaiah. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Isaiah comes back into the mix of things that we're dealing with, and if so, how. But certainly it challenges Sam's notion of whether or not the world is ready for a black Captain America. He hasn't said that out loud, but it seems from the way they're setting things up that may be one of the questions in the back of his mind. Not just whether he's worthy of the mantle in terms of, being the kind of stalwart guy that Steve was, but, is the world at large ready for that? And of course, that question is underscored by them immediately turning around and finding a new Captain America in John Walker and giving the shield to him. We did have more with John Walker. Heidi, what did you think about all that?
So for the most part, I really, I know at the end of the first episode, we were like, who's this guy? And he kind of looked like the older guy from Up with the chin strap,
Mm-hmm.
It made him
that
look.
meme's going around. Yeah.
Yes, it is. But in this last episode, he never said anything necessarily that was objectionable. He knows it's a big deal. He knows it's a big job. He just wants to do the best that he can. However, I feel like because he doesn't have that history with Sam and Bucky, that even just we had that discussion, but even just calling them Captain America's wingmen, it's like you didn't understand the relationship that they had. You didn't understand how they worked together.
But it's easy to see, looking from the outside, how you would think that is.
Sure,
and he wouldn't have that kind of inside information.
But that underscores that he's on the outside and not understanding how they're supposed to work together.
Yeah, and and I think he told them to stay out of his way.
Yeah.
Which seemed a little bit rough. But to be fair, he had just gotten them out of jail, and they just were ready to go off on their own anyway when he wanted to work with them. So I can understand getting your nose bent out of shape about that kind of thing as well. I think it's interesting that Wyatt Russell actually tried out for the role of Captain America early on, didn't get it, so they came back to him for this.
That's interesting.
And he totally, I've read some interviews where he totally gets everybody disliking this character, and he's totally on board. Like, that's fine. But also, some people apparently ran him off of either Twitter or Instagram by sending like threats and ugly things. And it's like, he's an actor. He's playing a character. Get over it.
That Twitter mob is just beyond dumb. I'm sorry.
It's a little insane.
It's a little like Twitter, like, they're not counting the billions of bot accounts that are out there, represents maybe 2% of humanity. And of that 2%, like 80% is in the West. And there's all sorts of crazy notions that go through there. And it's like, there's no reason for people to be hateful. There's no reason for people to find where people live and threaten them or their families. Right. There's no need. Like we've said, a little bit over the top. We've said a million times, the only thing that matters is just being kind. If you can't say something nice, just move on.
Yeah. Yeah. If you got a chance to be kind, take it.
Yeah.
Be kind.
So I am actually really appalled that people were that mean to him.
It's a little over the top. And like I said, he's totally on board with you not liking the character. You're not supposed to. That means he's doing his job well. You're not supposed to necessarily think he's a villain, but you're not supposed to like him either. You're supposed to compare him to Steve and find him wanting, which you do, and that's fine.
And he's a character.
Yeah.
Although, you could say that the Twitter mob is finally equal opportunity. They're picking on a white guy.
I guess.
I
don't know. It's all a bit ridiculous, and just.
I don't like it.
Yeah, let's not get too far down that road.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just
yeah,
more frustration than
that's
it's worth,
this is the first I'm hearing about it, so I'm like very upset about this for him because there's no reason for it. People just be nice. Just be nice.
Yeah, I mean, imagine your cast is. I mean, and it's like he's playing a guy who's trying to do right.
Yeah.
So imagine if you got the people get cast as murderers and rapists and Klansmen and all kinds of stuff like all the time in movies, and nobody goes around thinking they are those people and should be condemned in real life for those things. They're just playing a part. So why in the world is this guy playing in second Captain America suddenly like the taking the brunt of everybody's frustration? Like, that's ridiculous. But anyway, we're going to dive into episode 3 of The Power Broker. We're going to find out what we can. Now, we also know at the end of last episode, it ended with Bucky realizing that there was one person that they could talk to about what was going on, about what Hydra might have been up to, and what might connect all the dots for them, and that is Zemo, who we have not seen since the end of Civil War. So I'm excited to see what Zemo brings to the party, and if he's going to be working with them reluctantly, because he does not like superpowered individuals. So the notion of people being able to pay for powers and get them is probably not up his alley. So he may be a hesitant ally in all this. And of course, it's not like Sam and Bucky are going to enjoy the notion of working with him. So we'll see what happens in The Power Broker. Here we go.
Sir, my name is John Walker. Hey, stop! You're harboring a dangerous criminal named Carly Morgenthau. Do you know her? Do you know who I am? Yes, I do, and I don't care.
Oh, nice shot.
Mm-hmm. Very Hannibal Lecter.
Yep. Interesting.
Homecoming.
Those days are over.
Are they?
I know. I just wanted to see how the new you reacts to the old words.
He blew up the UN. He killed King T'Chaka and framed you for it. Did you forget that? You think the Wakandans forgot about it? It's a rhetorical question. They didn't.
The weakest point in any system isn't the software, the hardware. It's the meatware, the human element. Now, in this lockup, it's 9-1, prisoners to guards. And if 2 prisoners start fighting, then the protocol says 4 guards have to respond.
So why would 2 prisoners randomly start fighting at that moment?
Who knows?
Where are we,
Yeah.
man?
Please hold.
Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, what are you doing here?
I didn't want to tell you because I knew you wouldn't let this happen, okay?
What did you do?
We need him, Sam.
You're going back to prison.
If I may.
No!
You refused to sign the Sokovia Accords. You backed him. You broke the law and you stuck your neck out for me. I'm asking you to do it again.
I ended the Winter Soldier program once before. I have no intention to leave my work unfinished. You don't know what it's like to be locked in a cell. Oh, that's right. You do.
I've seen that book. It was Steve's when he came out of the ice. I told him about Trouble Man. He wrote it in that book. Did you hear it? What'd you think?
I like 40s music, so
You didn't like it?
I liked it.
It is a masterpiece, James. Complete, comprehensive. It captures the African-American experience.
He's out of line, but he's right. It's great.
Do we want to live in a world full of people like the Red Skull? That is why we're going to Madripoor.
What's up with Madripoor? You guys talk about it like it's Skull Island.
It's an island nation in the Indonesian archipelago. It's a pirate sanctuary back in the 1800s.
Ooh.
There's the symbol.
You look exactly like the man you're supposed to be playing. A sophisticated, charming African rake named Conrad Mack, aka the Smiling Tiger.
He even has a bad nickname. Hell, he does look like me, though.
You smell this?
Yeah, what is that, acid?
Madripoor. No matter what happens, we have to stay in character.
Ah, the Princess Bar. It's the known hangout of Patch, aka Logan.
Nice.
Nice nod.
Usual?
Thought he was supposed to be a smiling tiger.
Smiling Tiger, your favorite.
It's American.
By the way, I thought you were rotting away in a German prison. How did you escape?
People like us always find a way, don't we? Tell us what you know about the super soldier serum. And I give you him. Along with the code words to control him, of course.
The super soldier serum is here in Madripoor. Dr. Wilfred Nagel is the man you want to thank or
Kill.
condemn. Kill them!
Oh,
Ooh.
who's coming? Easy.
Seem to have a guardian angel.
Oh.
This is too perfect.
Ah,
Drop it, Zemo.
Sharon?
You cost me everything.
Sharon, wait. Someone recreated the super soldier serum, and Zemo had a lead.
Well, that explains why you guys are here. And Selby's dead.
So what are you doing here?
I stole Steve's shield, remember? I also took the wings for your ass so that you could save his ass from his ass. Unlike you, I didn't have the Avengers to back me up, so I'm off the grid in Madripoor.
Hey, don't blow that smoke at me. I was on a run, too.
Is big difference. Before you were his pet psychopath, you were Mr. America, Cap's best friend.
Uh-oh. She's kind of awful now.
Carly Morgenthau and at least 7 others have taken the serum.
You guys really should steer clear of all of this. For your own safety.
We know it's a risk. They cleared the bionic staring machine, and he killed almost everybody he's met.
I heard that.
It's charity.
All right, a deal then. You help us out, and I get your name cleared.
it's great, you know.
Okay, guys. I found him.
Do you think Dr. Nagel's first name is everything? Easy.
Don't get shot. Nice shot. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Wonder how long it took to choreograph all this.
I was recruited by the CIA. They had blood samples from an American test subject with semi-stable traces of serum in his system.
Isaiah Bradley.
After much labor, I was able to isolate the necessary compounds in his blood.
Guys, we're seriously out of time here.
No!
What did you do?
Whoa.
And Sam without his wings, having to do this like a regular Joe.
Yep.
You like living here?
That's terrible.
I thought we were gonna go left. You went the wrong way. I cleared the way. I came out first. You're supposed to follow me. And where are we now?
Guys, perfect time.
You did this. It's in every action movie.
Oh, okay.
You're not gonna move your seat up, are you?
No.
We've got a big problem. Actually, a couple of them. I'll tell you in the car. Let's go.
So, you seriously think Sam and Bucky would have broken a guy like Zemo out of prison?
That's exactly what I think they did. They were just as desperate for leads as we were.
Come
They didn't break him out.
You know damn well we can't accuse him of something like that without evidence.
Which is why you and I are just gonna run with this one for a minute. Maybe I made a mistake.
You did.
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't have put it in a museum. Maybe I should have destroyed it.
Look, that shield represents a lot of things to a lot of people, including me. The world's upside down. We need a new cap, and it ain't gonna be Walker. So before you go and destroy it, I'm gonna take it from him myself.
Put your seatbelt on. Now.
Interesting.
There were still people in there.
This is the only language these people understand.
Off the rails there, Carly.
I'm gonna go on a walk.
I think we saw a shot of the memorial in the trailer.
Good? Yeah. See you guys in a bit. I was wondering when you were gonna show up.
That is it for episode 3 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, The Power Broker. Heidi, your thoughts first?
Knowing that there are 6 episodes to this season, this little mini series that we're watching, we're halfway through, and I really enjoyed this, but it's like I want to, like, I know that they're gearing up and they're starting to get to all the climax here, so I really enjoyed pretty much everything about this, learning more details, the jet setting, having Zemo actually go by his name, Baron Zemo, all of that is great. I want to see more.
Yeah, and in a traditional story structure, we're somewhere in the second act, which means that likely things are not going to go that well for our characters in the next episode. Usually the second act ends with our heroes under the thumb or the boot of the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then, we'll
then
see
they
what
have to rally.
And they have to rally. But yeah, I think Zemo is an interesting addition to this mix, obviously because he can't be trusted.
Nope.
But also because he does have a code of his own that if they play things the right way, although he'll be looking for a way to scramble out from under it, he can be trusted to try to take these power people off the map.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's like wrangling, snakes or something. Like he's going to be, it's like no matter how friendly a lion is, right? You can know a lot, but a lion's always going to be wild, no matter how used to people it is. You can't be surprised when a lion, bites your hand off or something, because a lion's going to do what a lion's going to do. I think Zemo is in that same spot. Like yes, their desires and missions are aligned right now, but he's going to be looking for a way to get out from under.
Yeah, he's not
their
going to be
supervision.
he's not going to be the newest Avenger.
And he's going to have a plan of his own, one way or the other.
Absolutely.
I like seeing Sharon again. Interesting twist on her character.
Although I feel like, with that little tag at the end of her scenes, that she was like, "Oh, we need to talk." I'm like, is she undercover?
Maybe, or she could be working with the power broker. I mean, they could go that route.
Yeah, and I wondered about that too. I got a little bing while she was telling them.
You want to feel like, because she's Peggy's granddaughter or niece or whatever, that she would not do something like that. But she, she's a character in her own right. They don't necessarily have to follow the comics accurate path with her. They could keep things interesting by having her be someone who's up to no good.
Slightly gray.
Obviously, given that Steve, whatever feelings she may have had for Steve, we didn't really find out there whether she blipped or not.
No.
So, but I mean, given that she probably did not, then she's dealing with the ramifications of everything for 5 years and being on the run and not having. It would change a person, I would imagine. You'd get a little bit hardened and a little callous to some things, I would imagine. So I buy it.
Still a good fighter,
she had some great fighting moments here. I'm definitely. It was cool to see Madripoor. Definitely cool to see the Princess Bar. For those of you that don't know, and I mentioned it during our reaction. By the time we edit it down, whether it'll still be there or not, I can't tell you. But the Princess Bar is the bar that was frequented in the comics by Patch, a.k.a. Logan, a.k.a. Wolverine. Whenever he was in Madripoor, he went by the name Patch, or Patch over one eye. That was just the character that he adopted while he was there, because he didn't want to be Wolverine, didn't want people looking for Wolverine, didn't want people looking for Logan, given all of his past. So he just, because Madripoor is a place where you can get lost, he would just become this character Patch while he was there. The Princess Bar was a place that he frequented and run by a friend of his, a friend and sometimes nemesis of his. But yeah, interesting addition to that. Nice little nod to Madripoor's history there. Interesting that we didn't get much of Walker this episode, but clearly he's a bit frustrated by his lack of leads and his.
Yeah, I'm like that little thing where he like busted in the door of a business and literally nobody knew. Like it was all very like regimented. It was all very government sponsored. It was all a waste of time. And going by the books is clearly not working well for him. And he saw that Bucky and Sam. They said we're free agents, we're not going to be beholden to the same rules as you. And now he's like, well, maybe I need to skip some of those rules too, because clearly it's worked for them. If we get this job done, who cares?
Now, whether his bosses agree with that or not, who knows? And certainly they could
have another Captain America on the run.
I did like the notion or the conversation there toward the end between Bucky and Sam, where Bucky's like, no, before I would let you destroy it, I would step up. I think Bucky is pretty convinced that that's not his place, but he knows that there needs to be a Captain America, and he needs to be somebody that is that symbol. And if Sam's unwilling to do it, even if he does it poorly, he'll try it before he'll let it be taken away, before he'll let it be destroyed. And in the comics, Bucky actually was Cap first, before Sam got to carry the shield. And he was a very different kind of Cap. He carried a gun. He was, he was still very much Bucky Barnes in that costume, but he also tried to abide by sort of Steve's way of doing things. Yeah. So he had a gun, but he shot to wound. He shot, and he, he was a very different kind of Cap, and didn't really fit in with the Avengers the same way that Cap did. But he had history with so many of them that it worked for a while. Sam's a very different kind of Captain America, was a very different kind of Captain America. So it'll be interesting to see. Once Sam has the shield back, which I assume will happen, then what kind of Captain America will he be?
Yeah.
What will some of what he's learned throughout the course of this series make of him as a new symbol? And here's the thing: symbols are important, obviously, and I get where Sam's coming from, and I don't think it's. I don't think it's cowardly to be concerned with the things that he's concerned with. I feel like, clearly there should have been some more conversation between he and Steve before Steve handed that shield over to him.
Sure.
But I feel like what Sam needs to grasp is that he doesn't have to be Steve. He doesn't have to represent all of America in the same way. Steve represented a very idealized America, the America of the 1940s, the, World War II idealism. It's okay for Sam to not represent that. It's okay for Sam to represent America as messy and,
as it's evolved to today.
And complex as it is. That's okay. And here's the thing that I think is important about getting Captain America right, no matter which person is wearing the costume and carrying the shield, that Captain America, because it's an ideal, it's not about what America is or isn't. It's about the freedom for America to figure out what it is and isn't. And it's standing up for the best of what America should represent, even when it fails to represent those things. I think Sam can do that. I think he just needs to get past the notion of what he thinks Captain America is. And I think that hopefully throughout this series, as he kind of comes to grips with some of those things, that it'll also free Bucky from, maybe some of the weight of, you would think, given that he grew up in the same time period as Steve, that he was friends with Steve, that they had sort of the same background,
upbringing,
that had the things happened, had the things not happened to him that happened, that made him the Winter Soldier, that he would have been as, maybe as idealized a potential Cap as Steve was, except that he did have all these horrible. So he feels like, I should be that guy. I should be that. But instead, I'm this guy that's guilty of all these things. So he's carrying a lot of baggage that he doesn't necessarily have to carry. So maybe there'll be some freedom for him at the end of this road too, at least in letting some of those things go.
Hopefully.
I think Zemo's fun in the mix. I think Sharon's fun in the mix. Clearly, we'll probably see her again because we don't know what that last little conversation she had was about. Yep. But yeah, I'm definitely curious, and we're halfway through, so we've got 3 more hours to go.
And then what about that drop right at the end, that new character we saw?
Right, yeah. So clearly Wakanda paying attention and has something to say about Zemo being on the loose. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize the little beads. I should have, but as being Wakandan technology. But I was just like, okay, what's happening here?
Yeah, I didn't.
But they trusted that Bucky would hear them, recognize them, whatever, and come along. So yeah, that was interesting, and I believe that is the other Dora Milaje character that we saw in Civil War, because there was a different guard that sort of stepped up to Black Widow when Black Widow approached T'Challa about helping.
Yeah.
And they kind of had a little intimidation thing back and forth, and T'Challa was like, as much as I would like to see the outcome of that, let me hear her out. Let me hear what she has to say. I think that may be the same guard there. So very interesting, and of course, being close to T'Challa, she would
want to avenge
T'Chaka, and certainly now that doesn't mean she's gone rogue, but I think it'd be interesting to find out what her perspective is, which I'm sure we'll hear next.
Yeah, and find out what Wakanda's up to now, considering.
Sure.
So. And
we still don't know at this point, not to bring up sadness, but we still don't know at this point how they're going to deal with Chadwick Boseman's death as far as the Black Panther series goes. We do know that we'll get a Black Panther 2 without Chadwick Boseman, but we don't know how they're handling that.
Yeah, how they're going to handle it in the MCU. So but in the comics, we do know that his sister was Black Panther.
Sure.
At least for a little bit.
I suspect that we will not get any information about any of that from this character. They will be strictly focused on Zemo and, and possibly a road bump in the way to getting to what they need to get to. But we'll find out, I'm sure, more next episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's it for us. Yep. We didn't say it at the beginning of the episode. We normally do, but of course it flashed on your screen anyway. If you want to see the full uninterrupted version of this reaction, you can find that on Patreon only. Link is down in the description. It's $5, get you access to everything that we do, including this show. And, we definitely want to hear from you in the comments. Let us know what you thought about the episode, what you expect to be happening in the last 3 hours of this deal. Where will we land? Where will Falcon be? Where will Sam Wilson be in this notion of becoming Captain America? Will he be there? Will he be holding the shield? Or will we just get right up to the very edge of that, and then we'll find out more in a movie. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I definitely want to know what your thoughts are there. We appreciate you joining us as always, and we hope that you enjoyed our little reaction here. We will be back for episode 4 next week. Until then,
Bye.
Bye.